Pastor.
Are you still watching the World Cup outside? When they're walking in? Yeah. That's what they do. Today is Sunday, but it's also World Cup Sunday because it's only because Korea is playing today, right? Last week was also World Cup Sunday, but there was no World Cup games played at church because, well, Korea wasn't playing in. Thus, I have my red tie on to support later on. I can only watch one half though. I got missions meeting after that. Today we're gonna talk about love, and so we're gonna focus on probably the most famous love passage there is in our Bible, which is 1 Corinthians chapter 13. This whole next couple of weeks is, even during Bible study, is gonna be on love, and I'll make the announcement later again, but we're starting a new Bible study this week on the book of Song of Songs. And if you want to put it very, I guess, in a bad way, it's kind of like the scriptural erotica, right? There's a lot of, sexual undertones and things like that in that book. But we're all 18 and over, and, I've always felt, and I'll probably say this again later, but we need to teach the entire Bible, not to leave things out. So we're going to be talking about love for quite a bit, whether it's during the sermon or during our Bible study. And to set up chapter 13, we got to look at chapter 12. And if you look at chapter 12 of 1 Corinthians, it talks about the unity that we have in the body of Christ. Right? And it says, we're all... Something's happening, right? Something's happening there. It says that we're one body, but we're made up of many parts. We're different. We have different talents, we have different skills, but we all need to work together to make this body work, to make this ministry, to make this church function. We all have to be a part of it together. We know at times that this is very hard for us to do. So the characteristic that we need to have to be able to work well together is love. Love. Do you love the people in this room? Can you look somebody in the eye in this room and say, I love you. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. Susan just tried it to Linda. They just laughed, so it's not working very well. Right? I love you. Do you love the people in this room? As Christians, the greatest characteristic that we must have, that we must overflow with, is love. Love. What is love? What comes to your mind when you hear this question? What is love? To be honest, the thing that comes to my mind is, baby, don't hurt me no more. Okay, I'm too old. Yes, it was a song back in the day. But what is love? And that is what we're here to find out. We're here to find out what love is. Okay? And so we're going to go through chapter 13 to start off in the previous verse that ends Corinthians chapter 12. It says, and now I will show you the most excellent way. I will show you the most excellent way that your church body could function well together. Okay? And so we'll go through this. Let's read 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 1 through 13 together. It says, if I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, there will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put childish ways behind me. Now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Amen. You know, our passage starts off by saying, if I speak in tongues of men and of angels, but I don't have love inside of me, I'm just a resounding gong. I'm a clanging cymbal, right? You know, we have some people that play the drums, and these days, Deacon Hui plays the drums for us. And I'm glad he's good at the drums. Right? I'm glad that Paul is good at the guitar. I'm glad that Pastor David is good at the bass guitar. I'm glad Linda could sing. Right? I'm glad we have these musical talents, because if none of us in here had musical talents and Paul only knew how to play this G chord and he just G, 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 and Pastor David only went bum, 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 and Deacon Hui just went clang, 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 like our praise would be horrible, right? Have you ever thought about that? That's how my son plays the drums at home. We have this toy drums. He just hits one thing. It's like a bop it type of game thing, right? Bop it, bop it, bop it, bop it, bop it. I was like, please hit the other side, right? Because it gets annoying. It's stressful. It's like, ugh. Right? That's why you could say powerful things. You could do great things. But if you don't have love within it, then it's just like, whatever, dude. Because it's not backed up with anything. Now, as a pastor, I've learned that when I prepare a sermon, I need to be blessed by the sermon first. If I'm not blessed by the sermon, how can I expect you all to be blessed by the sermon, correct? So I need to live out my sermons. If I tell you guys to love each other, I can't go when we leave this place and, you know, Korea, like whatever, Algeria scores a goal, and I'm like, beep and beep, beep, beep. I hate Algeria. It's the worst country to. You're like, what's up with this guy? Right? Guy's crazy. And so for my sermons to have impact, my words to have impact, I need to believe in those words myself. And I need to have love. Make it come out and make you feel it. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains. And the Bible says if you have a faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. But you have not love, then it's meaningless. It's stupid. It's unnecessary. You are nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames but have not love, I gain nothing. What's this telling us? Every action that we take as a Christian, every word that we speak as a Christian, everything that we do as a Christian starts and is backed by love. And if it's not backed by love, then there's no point in doing it. And so I ask you again, do you love each other? Do you love God? And do you love God's creation? In chapter 12, 1 Corinthians chapter 12 ends by saying God appointed people to different tasks, meaning that God has given people many different gifts. But what Paul is telling us here in the beginning of chapter 13 is without love, all those gifts are moot. All those gifts are nothing. I can say, I love you. I can preach well. But if I don't have love, then I'm just going, bop it, bop it, bop it, bop it. So what is love? What does the Bible define as love? And it comes up in verse 4 through 7, right? It tells you what love is and what it is not. And it starts off by saying love is patient. Love is patient. Are you patient people? As the world continues to grow and evolve, we become less and less patient. Right? We are impatient people. Have you ever thought about this? Well, you know, I lived in the world when there was like dial-up internet. I don't know if you guys had to deal with dial-up internet, like when you have to plug it into the phone jack, and it has this beep, 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 and it starts, and you pray that nobody's gonna call, because if somebody calls, your internet goes out, right? But back then, I remember it was like, wow, this is amazing. I could access things in the world that I never dreamed of. And then I went to college. In dorms, we had this LAN system. So, oh my goodness, LAN is the fastest thing in the world. And then we got to 3G. Right? And when 4G came out, 3G was like, man, that's slow. Like 4G LTE. In Korea, they have 4G LTE-A. Right? And it's like even better. And they said in like 3 years, Korea is going to make 5G. And so all those people, like, we need it quicker. We need it faster, faster, faster. Right? Patience is a hard thing. It's hard to be patient for things. It's hard to wait for things. I remember I lived in Korea, and one of my friends told me, he was in Korea, and in Korea, everything is a building, right? They don't have one-story stuff. Everything, you need to take an elevator to go any place you want to go, right? And he told me that he went into this building, and some guy got on an elevator, right? Got on the elevator. He needed to take the elevator, and so he kind of gave the signal, the universal sign of, I need to go down the elevator, right? He's like, okay. And he said, the dude on the elevator saw him and said, and then he pressed the door close button. And then the door closed and it went up. And he's like, what? Right? But that's how quick we are. We can't wait that 10 seconds for that person to come into the elevator. Right? How many times have you ridden an elevator and the first thing you press, after you press like floor 3, what do you press? Door close. Right? You don't press floor 3 and just wait for the door to close. We want it quick. We want it to happen before. You know, before I thought I would be a bad father. If I had to grade my fatherhood so far, I'd be like a B plus. And I say this because I don't cook for my son. And my wife tells me the thing that she stresses out the most about taking care of our baby is cooking. Right? Because my wife says all she does is cook. She wakes up, she cooks breakfast for my son, washes him, does the dishes, cooks lunch for me, washes it. Well, doesn't wash me, I wash myself, right? Cleans the dishes, makes lunch for my son, washes the dishes, makes dinner for my son, washes the dishes, makes dinner for me, and the day's over. Right? So she has like the A+ mom rating, wife rating. I'm like the B-. I'm like the sit over here. Daddy's gonna watch World Cup. You read a book. Right? I do the diapers and I do a lot of other things. But I thought at first when I found out my wife was pregnant, I'm gonna be a bad dad. Why? Because it's hard for me to be patient. It's hard for me to be patient. You know? And babies, they like repetition. They like reading the same book over and over again. I'm down with reading a book, putting it down, and getting another book, right? But this is what happens. I read a book to my son. Like my son, he's adorable, right? So if I'm sitting on the ground, he'll bring a book to me. Right? I'll get the book, and then he'll turn around, walk 3 steps, and just plop on my lap, right? Open the book, I read it. It's like done in a minute because it's like 2 words a page, right? 사과가 쿵, 냠냠 우적우적, right? It's like a book about eating apples, right? Like, 맛있다, okay? And it's done. And when it's done, the cover closes, my son does something. 사과가 쿵, 우적우적, 맛있다. Close it. You gotta read it around 3 to 4 times before he'll get up and get the next book, right? I was like, why can't we just move on to the next book, like right now? Patience is hard. It's hard to be patient. It's hard to wait for things. And maybe that's why the first thing that comes up with what love is, it's patient. It's patient. Last week we cooked. Y'all did a fantastic job. Some of you get better grades than others. Some of you probably did more. Steve did a lot, right? He tried to put it all together. And I realized, wow, it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But it still went well. And, we'll try to do it again, and we could kind of tighten it up a little bit, things like that. But I know some people were losing their patience on other people, right? Because man, they're eating. I want to eat too, but I got to do this. Why can't they come over and switch with me? Right? There's two ways to look at this. If we were all loving each other, we would notice, that person's doing a lot. I'll go and switch so they could eat now. The flip side is let them eat. Because I love them, I'll do the work. There's two ways to look at this. I hope we love each other, so the next time we do it, we do it well again. But patience is what it is. Next, love is kind. Love is kind. This makes sense. Be nice to each other. Be nice to each other. Say nice things. Encourage each other. One thing I learned that's different from Korea and America is Koreans in Korea are very good at giving compliments. Very good at giving compliments. In America, if you give a compliment, it's kind of like, what are you trying to get? Right? What's your ulterior motive? Right? For example, in Korea, I could go to any female in our congregation. I say, "Oh, you look very pretty today." They'll say, "Thank you. You look nice too." Right? In America, I feel like it's against the law to tell you how pretty you are, right? Because I gotta kind of keep my distance. But they're very good at that. Like even guys to guys, 너무 멋있는데? You're so. For whatever reason, I know some people are going to Korea this year. You're gonna get compliments like left and right. Some of you will get compliments. Some of you will be like, 고쳐야 돼, right? But you get these compliments. Here in America, I want us to be that kind of group. Compliment each other. Encourage each other. Be kind with our words. When we write things on Facebook, right? I don't know how many of you guys are friends on Facebook, but if someone in our congregation says something like, having a rough day, I wish all of us who are on Facebook will read that and say, don't worry, I'm praying for you. Write like encouraging notes, encouraging letters, instead of just glancing it and going over to the next thing. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. Right? Love is humble. Love is humble. It goes back to what Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1. He says, knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. When we're smart, when we think we're smart and we think we know it all, right? We're in college, that's what we do, right? When we get to college, we feel like, I know more things than you do. Right? You don't. I'm way superior in knowledge than come to trivia night with me. I will blow you out of the water, right? But knowledge, it puffs up because we think we know all these things. When we have love, though, it humbles us and says, okay, you're smart. You know, good job. We don't take our knowledge and we lord it over other people. We just say, that's cool. Love humbles us. Humility is the way to go. Look at Jesus. Humble man. Humble God. There's even a song. He is our humble King. Be humble of what you know. Love is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. Do you find any of these attributes in your life? Are you short-tempered? Are you a short-tempered person? If you are, there's a problem. You're lacking in love then. If you love somebody, you're patient with them, and you don't get angry too quickly. My wife told me the other day that she thinks I'm changing because now I get angry with her quicker. Right? As a pastor, I share a lot, right? I share about because I want to keep it real. Right? Keep it, Pastor Charles, keeping it real, telling you how it is at home. Right? I get angry, and that's how your love relationships are best, right? When you first get a boyfriend, first get a girlfriend, anything that she does, anything he does is like, oh, that's so cute. Oh, she farts in front of me, that's so cute. And then later on, why are you farting in front of me? Stop farting! Right? At first, we take everything with love. But then after a while, it's like, it smells and it's gross. And so you get angered more quickly. You're short-tempered. Love is still there, but for whatever reason, it's dwindling a little bit. And think about all the marriages nowadays that fail. Before I used to think, oh, if people get divorced, they'll get divorced in the first 5 years of their marriage. Right? It's not the case. Right? People get divorced like in their 60s, in their 70s, they get divorced. And I was like, why did they get divorced so late? And being Korean backgrounds, they would say, gotta wait until our kids are married so the other family doesn't think we're weird. And so when their last child gets married, it's like, okay, we're going to court to get a divorce. Because the love, for whatever reason, goes away. You gotta keep that love going. You gotta keep that fire burning with each other. Love does not keep records of wrongs. Oh, my wife is good at this. Not keeping records of wrongs, in keeping records of wrongs. She's good at this. Right? She could tell me, like, my wife will bring up the past, my past sins, like it's no joke. Right? It's like, remember that day, the second Thursday of October 2012? What happened on the second Tuesday of October 12th? Yeah, you said the same thing I got mad about right now. Like, how am I supposed to know that? Like, I'm so, like, you know what they say? Men are 단순해, right? In Korean. Men are simple. I don't remember stuff. Right? It doesn't mean I'm stupid or it doesn't mean I don't care, but it's just kind of like, okay, that happened and it's next. It's over now. Right? But my wife and certain women, and probably other certain men, I don't want to make this a sexist thing, okay? Certain men also will remember and hold these grudges. Right? You've wronged me such and such a time. It's payback. And I say I don't want to make this like a female versus male thing. You know why? Because a lot of us have experienced this, right? And I mentioned this before, how when we're younger, we came to church and a pastor or a teacher or somebody said something to you, right? Why are you dressing like that? Or why don't you come on time to things? Or whatever the case may be. And it just broke your heart. And what happened? You got older, and once your parents can't force you to come to church anymore, you don't come to church. And you hold the grudge from a pastor who you've never talked to again since then. And you think, Pastor Charles is just like that guy, because he's a pastor too. And so you don't love me when I love you. Right? Let it go. Like Elsa says, let it go. Just throw it away. The pain, it's stupid to live with pain. It's stupid to live with that kind of heartache. You gotta let it go to God and release those bad feelings. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. Even if bad things happen to your enemies, do not be happy about it. Do not be happy about it. When I watch the World Cup, one thing I really like is sportsmanship. Sportsmanship. When we're younger and we play AYSO or we go through like city leagues and stuff, we're taught, be a good sportsman, right? Be fair. Be good to the other team. Always give them high five. Right? What the end of every soccer game I've been, 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? Whoever, that team, yay. And then you go and shake their hands. What happens when you get older? Like if you watch the NBA or whatever, it's like, whatever, bro. You hard foul them, they're on the ground, you just walk away. And it's up to their teammates to pick them up, correct? Like if your enemy gets hurt, who cares? It doesn't bother me. So one thing I loved about the football is maybe the two World Cups ago, 2006, watching a game. Korea was playing, whoever it was, and a Korea guy fell because he had a cramp on his leg. And he was writhing in pain. And the guy closest to him was the other team member. And the other team guy came and started massaging his leg and like trying to release the cramp until the medical staff came. I was like, wow, that's amazing. He could have been like, yeah, he has a cramp. We're going to win this game. But he helped him out. And the medical staff came and he helped him. And when I saw that, I was like, how nice is that? You gotta love your enemies. You can't delight when they get hurt. You can't be happy when they get hurt. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. It's the next part. It says, prophecies will cease, tongues will be stilled, knowledge will pass away. Now, this doesn't mean that prophecies, tongues, and knowledge are no longer here. They're alive and well today. Right? If there's a prophet, that's awesome. You've heard people speak in tongues, and smart people, you've met them before, right, who have knowledge of the Bible. But it will cease someday. When will that happen? When this world is over. Right? When this world is over, there's no need for prophecy anymore. When this world is over and we're all in heaven, there's no need for tongues anymore. There's no need for knowledge. But what is the one thing that remains? Love. God's love for us, our love for God when we get in heaven. That's the only thing remains. When this world passes, the only thing remains is love. When you get to heaven, you don't have to worry about, I wonder if God is real. Because God is there. Right? You don't have to worry about hope. I hope I get into heaven. Why? Because you're in heaven. But what are you going to do when you get to heaven? Holy, 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 holy is the Lord Almighty. You praise God and you love God. And God's love for you brings him into your fold. That's why when all other things pass away, all our other knowledge of Christian stuff pass away, love remains. Love remains. And so we practice that love here while we're still on earth. Because that's the only thing that will last forever. Love. Being a father, I learned more about God's love and about our love for God. Our love for God is conditional. Correct? Things get bad, it's screw you, God, I don't like you anymore. It's very conditional. When things are good, like, okay, I'm good with God. When things are bad, it's, no, God, he's not real, he's not in my life. That's a child's love for their parents. It's the same thing. That attitude is a child's love for their parents. Because child's love for a parent can be conditional. Right? For example, if your parents mess up, you may not love them anymore. If your parents are abusive to you, they abuse you mentally, physically, sexually, whatever the case may be, you're not going to love your parents. Correct? When they're good to you, you love them. Things go south, no. I'm going to move out. I'm going to live my own life. That's that. Our love for God is like a child's love for parents. They do something wrong, and your love and affection dies, goes away. Not so when you have your own child. Not so when you do have your own child. Ryan is not old enough to have done anything terribly wrong. But he has bad sleeping habits. Like this kid, like me and my wife and my son, we sleep like this, right? My son's in the middle. But during the middle of the night, he turns like this. And so he would kick me in the face while we sleep, okay? And one time I remember he swung his leg so hard, his heel went right in my eyeball. And I woke up screaming like, ah! Right? That's probably the worst thing he has done to me. But I still love him. I've been peed on. I've been pooped on before, right? And it's like, as a first-time parent, it's a weird feeling because he pooped, Gotta change his diaper. You open up the poop, you wipe the poop, and you get a new diaper, and he poops again, but it shoots at you. I'm like, what just happened? I'm wearing a white shirt, man. But it's happened. But I'm not gonna be like, I hate you now. You pooped on me, you poop monster. Hate you. No. You still love your child. I get home and I'm tired, but he wants to play. I'll play with him because I love my child. It's an unconditional love. You know, when America has their school shootings, the people I feel the worst for is the parent of the shooter. And last night or early morning in Korea, there was a shooting in Korea, right? In the army base, a soldier went. He killed 5 of his comrades. He wounded 7 others, and now he's in elementary school, kind of holed up there. I don't know. It might be over now. This was like all last night, and I heard his parents were there. They went, and the parents were negotiating with him. Please come out. It's okay. I still love you. Think about the Seolho. The parents, what they're feeling as they go through this anguish. It's an unconditional love. Your son could kill people. Your child could kill people, but you'll still love them. You won't be like, my son did that, excommunicate my family. Murder, I'll never visit him in prison. You'll still cry for him. That's a parent's love. That's God's love for us. When you become parents yourself, you'll understand. The parents in here, you probably know and understand this very well. God's love for us is unconditional, but we have conditional love. And when we try to be like God, we need to realize we need to change our love, our conditional love, into unconditional love too. Not be angered, not delight in the troubles of others, but be patient, keep no records of wrongs, forgive, and love everyone equally and abundantly. Finally, 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I talked like a child. When I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put childish ways behind me. And when we're younger, we justify things as a child to make things, well, I hate this, right? People, they're ugly. I don't like them. Right? Food, vegetables, it's yucky. I don't like it. Books, movies, things, they're stupid. I don't like reading. When you become an adult, if you hear adults say this, wouldn't you be like, what are you talking about? Right? You're in the office and like, I don't like Yolanda. I don't know why I thought of Yolanda, but I don't like Yolanda. Why? She's ugly. You're like, dude, we're dirty. Right? I don't eat broccoli. Why? It's yucky. Dude, you're an adult. You're an adult. Let me tell you something. You guys are all adults. You are all 18. One person's not 18. Most of you are adults. 99% of us in here. That means we need to take our childish ways behind. The one thing that all people wanted as a high school kid, when you turn 18 to your parents, is like, I'm an adult. Treat me like an adult, right? I'm going to treat you like an adult now. You got to put all that crap behind. All that stupid, I don't like this because of that, and I don't like this because of that. No, you are an adult. You are a man. You are a woman. You're not a boy. You're not a girl anymore. So you can't have this superficial, I don't like this person because of this and that. You love people. Why? Because God says so. Love people. Love people with all your heart. Love people unconditionally. You love everyone as you are called to love. Though we may not know or understand everything now, when Jesus returns, it says, we will know all things. And I talked about this earlier. Everything will pass away, right? And finally, in verse 13, now 3 things remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. My future, I don't know what it holds, but I have faith that God will see me through. I have hope that God will see me through. But even if my faith and hope fail, I know that God's love for me never fails. God will love me forever and ever, and I can trust in God. That is why it says the greatest out of faith, hope, and love is love. Love each other. Love each other. Love each other. Love each other not just in words, but in action. Do not be a resounding gong. Do not be a clashing cymbal. It's easy to say I love you. It's hard to put it out in action. But I tell you today, live it. Love out loud. Love with every fiber of your being. And for today and forevermore, let our ministry become people of love, not for just those in this room, but for this entire church and for this entire world. Let us, as God's children, children of a God of love, love all those around us. Let's pray together.